this other thing that she wanted me to do with her. And actually, I'm going to do the first segment. Fair enough?
Yeah.
Okay. And this is why. So my first topic, I want to revisit. I want to do an update to a topic that we had prior,
Okay.
and it's the friendship topic because
Okay.
one, I've gotten a lot of feedback on it, which I find interesting. As a matter of fact, I
I
had
did
one.
too.
Oh, really? Because I had one friend that sent me a message saying, "I love the show. I love freedom." And tell her now you have proof one of your friends is listening. I'm like, you're right. You're absolutely right. And I know it's not that I don't think my friends aren't listening. That's not it was just funny. But here's the crazy thing, and I mean crazy.
Okay.
So, no sooner did we have that conversation about friendship than the same man that I just told you about that sent me feedback made a post on his Facebook page about his tribe, which I totally understand this concept, right? Like we surround ourselves with our tribe. I love the idea. I'm not opposed to a tribe, right? I I believe we're all connected, but I get that we hang out with more like-minded people.
Of course. Yeah.
And so he writes this. I'm 99% sure he copied it from somebody else's page, posted it on his own, and then he tagged a handful of people, a big, like 3 to 4 handfuls of people in this post. And I was one of the people he tagged, which I was thrilled to death. I'm like, I'm in his tribe. I love his tribe. Well, a friend of mine on Facebook obviously doesn't totally understand how it works. And she read that post and she went off. Now, I didn't see it because I'm only tagged in this post. It is not my post, right? So I don't see when everybody replies back to this post.
Right.
I didn't write it. I didn't post it. I am only tagged in it. It obviously made her mad. And I feel it made her mad because she thought I wrote the post
And didn't
and I
include
didn't
her.
tag her. And so like a couple days later, he sends me a message and he's like, I believe this is your friend, and I don't know why she posted this, but I wanted you to have it. And she literally, I'm like, part of me thinks I should read it to you. Part of me
Please,
doesn't.
no. Yeah, you have to.
Do you want
Otherwise,
to?
I'm just going to go on and read it.
Well, it's not, yeah, you'd have to find it. Now, I only know it because he sent it to me, but it basically is, I mean, I, I'm not a good friend is basically what she said. And I will look. All right, let me find it. Give me 2 seconds because it's on my Facebook and then I just need to go to my friends. Um, let me get to the messages. That's the best part. And my God, I'm having a day, Freedom. Holy fuck. Like this is when you can tell I'm old. This is how you can tell I'm an old lady. I'm like, what am I doing? Let me find it on my yeah, I'm okay. Really, I am. Here we go. So, I mean, and I'm not going to read you his. It was kind of long, and it literally was just about, my friends are my friends, and I love my friends, and I stick with my friends, and we're a tribe together. And I'm like, yes,
And then he tagged a bunch of people. So then she saw that you were tagged, but didn't realize that she thought you wrote it, didn't
she
tag
thought I
her.
wrote it. Yeah, she thought I wrote it. And this is what she says. He says, I think your friend dot dot dot, not going to tell you who, posted this in the wrong thread. I'm like, no, it was the thread she meant to post it in, but she didn't realize it wasn't my post, right?
Right.
I have loved you for years since meeting you on day one of kindergarten. I went to kindergarten. Okay, and I went to kindergarten in Escondido, California. I met her in Burbank, California. I didn't actually meet her till second grade, but I'm going to cut her some slack on that one.
Just cut her some slack.
On that one. Okay, I have spent countless hours growing up with you, meeting your mom, dad, and sister, and years in Girl Scouts. No. High school and even sailed with you as a first class mariner. Yes. I've worked with you. I can't remember where. I've worked with you, called you throughout the years on the phone, drove to see you in Portland to meet my family. So yes, she drove to Portland with her family. And I do not recall asking her to do that, right? I did not say, will you please drive up here so I can meet your family? She called me and she said, hey, we're coming up. And I said, okay. You recommended the finest restaurant in town, knowing I was a mother of two and ended up paying for dinner. What? Okay. Then she says, I supported you and ordered t-shirts from your students. I ordered a website from you rather than giving you money so you could secure keeping your apartment, and even invited you to live with me in the state she lived in to get out of your depression. I paid for treasure maps to help you find a location that would help you thrive with your incredible talents. Wow. Unconditional says it all. Listening to your shower talks speaks volumes. And I would be remiss if I didn't say thank you. If seeking truth and Zen is your objective, then I would take inventory of your tolerance of other truths or beliefs. I'm like, what? So,
What?
yeah. So I'm not quite sure. I think she's saying she's loved me unconditionally, but she has just outlined every reason, everything she's ever done for me. And what's so strange is I've never asked her to do any of those things. She is also one of the people that mentions my weight to me more than I mention it. And I try not to hang out with those people. If my weight affects your well-being that much, I get it. Then don't hang out with me because this is how much I weigh. And so, and then the whole, I bought you dinner. What? So
It's
I wanted,
definitely something she was hanging on to.
yeah, without a doubt.
Mm.
And by the way, I picked the restaurant that was on the bottom floor of the hotel they were staying in because I thought that would be easiest for them. They could take the elevator down. It was a nice restaurant, sure. I did not ask them to pay for me. No. And if that was the finest restaurant in town, the Heathman would be really pissed, right? Because that's definitely a way better restaurant. But none of this matters. Here's what it comes down to is her political views and my political views are night and day. As a matter of
Ooh.
fact, she's the one that worked on Ben Carson's campaign. So yeah, our political views are not the same, but I have friends that voted for the T word, right? I haven't dumped those friends. But the one thing that I have learned about friendship, and this is something that I wanted to make clear now, it's okay, sweetheart. Because I obviously didn't do a great job of it at our last conversation, is you are not required to stay friends with people
No,
for
of
any
course
reason,
not.
for any reason whatsoever. It could just be not because of Ben Carson, although that's a pretty good reason in my book, but that's not why.
Right.
I have not continued to be friends with this person, not because she's a bad person. She's not. We just don't have a lot in common now, right? And I do remember, like, she got mad at me. It all started a while ago because she said I hadn't called her in a long time. And it was funny because I was the last person to call her. And I called her while she was in the car on her way to the airport to pick up her boyfriend. And I said, okay, well, call me when you're free. And I never heard from her. But that's my fault, according to her. So I'm just like, you know what? You're right. You're 100% correct. I don't care to continue the friendship. Not because you're a bad person, not because I think you're horrible, not because you worked on Ben Carson's campaign.
which is
I
pretty
just
bad.
don't feel like it. I mean, and she owes me nothing, right? Nobody owes anybody. Well, apparently I do. I owe her a dinner at the finest restaurant. I'll take you to dinner. And I think she does want her money back from her website, which is, here's the other funny thing about that is I can build you a website, but I can't create the content that goes on your website
Right.
without you. You need to send me the photos you want. You need to send me the text you want.
Everything, all the content.
Yeah, I can make shit up, but it's not necessarily. Yeah. So I'm just so funny because you talked about doing a master class on friendship, and then the very next day I get this, you have fucked up as a friend. And I was like, you know what? Yeah, I'm not
God.
perfect, but I don't have to be your friend. And even more importantly, if I am this, you know, draining to you, why would you want me as a friend? I'm sure you got a lot of other choices. I know you do, right? So I'm just, we're not required to be friends with people. The only thing we're required to do is have family. And
And
there's
even
nothing you can do about
then,
that.
and
You don't have to
even
hang out with them. Right.
and even right, it's like that whole idea of the family that you're born into, that you're genetically connected to, and then you have the family that you build, and that
Right.
includes friends. I mean, I consider more friends family than I do people that I have quote unquote blood relation with. And
Right.
family in terms of genetics is so obtuse because I mean, like people are adopted,
Yeah.
right? You have
Hmm.
adopted people that are in families, and it doesn't mean they're any less loved or wanted or connected. Some people are genetically connected and absolutely hate each other.
Yeah. And like, and I really like my sister. She's awesome, but we're not a lot alike. Oh my God, Eloise. All right, hold on. Eloise is leaving. Okay. Um, we're not a lot alike. I don't know that we would be friends if we weren't related, but we are related and we are friends.
And there's something to be said too. That's the thing is I think that there's a difference between being related and being friends. It's
Yes.
it's an and, right? Like
Yep.
you can be related to someone and not like them
Hmm.
and not have any relationship with them. And then there are people that, yeah, it's like it's not an either or and it's not guaranteed. And but I do think that if you are related to them and you have that shared experience, then I don't know if making it easier per se makes it to be friends, but it's like there is that commonality and I feel like there is something to be said about that.
Yeah. But you know what? I mean, there's I could see being related to someone and being more tolerant, but that doesn't mean you have to be friends. So for a while, my sister were and I were just sisters. And then for a little while, we were sisters that were tolerant of each other. And now we're sisters that are friends with each other. Like
Yeah, you genuinely care about the other one.
and I learn a lot from her. She
Yeah.
teaches me a lot, even unintentionally. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
And I can get mad at her. Like I can get mad at her and I will be over it in 5 minutes, right? Like it's because that's what we do. People say things like she says things sometimes that if I said to her, she would be pissed. And I let a lot of it go, but that's because I function differently than she does, right?
Yeah.
So I'll do things that make her mad and she lets them go, right? That's friendship. So friendship to me is it's why I don't believe in love at first sight. Personally, for me, I learned growing up love is a very specific thing. Love is patient, love is kind. Like I can quote you that Bible verse. It's actually two verses. And that's what I learned love was. And I sit back and I say, yeah, no, you can't do that one look. Now, I can be initially immediately attracted to you,
Right.
and that can develop into love easily, but
I
it's not
agree.
a
Yeah.
requirement, right?
I
Like,
agree. And that's, I feel like if anything too, if someone tells you they love you the first day they meet you, it's a huge red flag. Seriously, my ex did that. My ex, like the day I met him, was like, I
you
am in
mean my favorite ex of yours?
your favorite ex. Yes. He literally told me he loved me the day we met.
Yeah,
Yeah,
that's a huge red flag.
it was a huge red flag. I mean, granted, we were together 10 years,
Yeah.
but
By the way, that was not the only red flag.
I know. But it was a huge searing, like, look at me.
Hindsight is, but you know what? I love that you can walk away from a situation going, you know what? I learned something really valuable. I mean, I don't love that it takes me forever. Like, I wish I could learn like that, but I'm okay with it. And I'm like, that's another tool in your toolbox, right? Like, how can you, like, how can you love me? You don't even know how stinky my poops are, right? Like, you know what I mean? I mean, come on, right? There's just like, it's
You don't know
very,
that, yeah, like you don't know that they have some weird fetish where they drown kittens for fun.
can you imagine freedom? That would be the end of them in my house, right? You come near my cat and I will cut your hands off, right? So, but yeah, that's why to me the concept of friendship, it's sort of sacred, right? Like, and that's
Yeah.
again why I never asked married couples, are you guys in love? I never asked that question. I always ask, do you like them? Because there's a big difference. Because I love family, but you don't always like family, right?
Hmm.
You wouldn't hang out with them. They wouldn't be friends of yours. Now, fortunately, I actually really like most of my family. They're very different than me. Certainly politically, they're different. Religiously, they're different, but I like them as people. Like,
Yeah.
I'm fortunate in this sense, right? But we're not required. It is not a requirement. I can be friends with you from the womb, right? Like, we went to elementary or kindergarten together, and I'm not required to stay your friend. It's not something that is a given, and it doesn't have to be because you're a bad person, right? It doesn't have to be because I don't agree with your thought process. Maybe I'm out of the loop. And if you want me to work really, really hard at being your friend, then maybe don't bring up my weight to me all the time. Or
Mm.
or maybe you don't keep reminding me that I'm depressed. Like, why are you reminding me of these things? Why not try and do something slightly different? Or, I don't know.
So what are you
Anyways,
gonna do? What are you thinking about in terms of this friendship?
oh, you're not gonna like it.
Oh God, let's hear it.
I just ignored her. I'm like, she didn't even actually send it to me. The only reason I know it, well, she's gonna find out now because she's probably listening to all our show talks to find evidence that I'm a bad person. And you're right, I'm a fuck up. I am. Which is why you don't want me in your life. Like, you should just be thanking your lucky stars you're rid of me. That's how I look at it. But
Oh,
you know what I mean. I'm
I
just like,
do.
because I'm never gonna meet her standard. So why freak yourself out? You could do better. That's kind of how, I mean, like, although I would like to tell her, hey, you know what? For no other reason other than I just don't feel like continuing to work that hard on our friendship, which, so maybe I'm a bad person. I'm out. I'm just out. And it doesn't really have anything to do with Ben Carson, although that man is I'm just, don't even get me started about,
Is
I
it
mean,
dead?
I think Trump is a bad guy,
Oh
let
no, Ben
alone,
Carson's not dead. Who's the
oh
one?
no, he's the one that Trump put in charge of the
Urban, yeah,
HUD.
urban development.
And he
dear.
thinks poor people are poor because they choose to be. Like,
Yeah, he's horrible. I always get him confused with the pizza guy. He's the one that's dead. Because there's only the two notable black men that are on the Republican and Herschel
yeah.
Walker now.
Oh yeah, oh please.
That
But
guy
anyways,
is dumb as rocks. Can I just say, but I don't want to change topics yet, but
yes,
like,
you're not allowed to. Um,
not.
However, we are at topic changing time. Although I do appreciate that you let me do the follow up on, and I love the idea of doing follow ups on
Oh my God.
some of our topics. And I've obviously said things about friendship because I do take it seriously, and that's because you know what I look around and I'm alone, right?
Yeah.
My family doesn't live anywhere near me. So, and that's the same for you. Your family doesn't live near you. What we have as family are our friends.
Yeah.
So,
Uh-huh.
friendships are kind of important to me.
In fact, one of my friends who listens to Shower Talks, it's a couple, and they texted me over the weekend and made a comment about us being friends, and they said, "So we're watching the last week's blog. So are we weirdos you attract? We are friends, right?" And I actually laughed and said, "Actually, we are not friends. We are family."
Yes, there you go.
Because they are, like, to me, they're more of my family. I would consider them more of a family. I would call them, talk to them, have to over people that I'm blood related to,
Yeah, which I get,
or
right?
spend holidays with. Like, that's part of like a little benchmark, right? Of family time is when you get together on Thanksgiving and Christmas and
Yeah. As a matter of fact, I am going to my friend's house for Thanksgiving. My friends Ron and Heidi. I'm going to their house. I'm excited, right? I have a place to go. Like normally I spend the holidays by myself. It is not something that makes me sad. I actually kind of like it. Which I know is crazy, but I'm like I'm thankful I was built this way, right?
yeah,
I don't know why. I don't know what the philosophy behind it is yet necessarily, but I'm just thankful I was built this way. But
yeah,
Heidi's like, well, because once a month we get together. She's like, can we do it for Thanksgiving? I'm like, sure,
done
let's do
deal.
it.
Yeah.
So, but I told her I will not be coming over for Christmas. I'm willing to give up my Thanksgiving, but not my Christmas. So, but yeah, I mean, I'm always interested in people's philosophy on friendship, and I know mine is possibly militant a lot of times
In what way?
because I count on friendships
Yeah.
so heavily, right? That when my friend emails me and says, will you take this class with me? I'm like, yes, I'll take it with you. And then I do it, right? Because I think about if I had said, so actually, we're gonna one more thing.
Yeah.
So I am in the throes of a crazy situation in my life. Crazy for me,
Okay.
not crazy. Like just trying to figure out what my next step is, right? And I actually said, I'm not sure. And I want you to hear what I'm saying first, and then I do want you to respond to this. I
Okay.
am not sure I have any friends that would be willing to slow down long enough to hear what I am saying and give me a heartfelt, I mean, a thoroughly thought out opinion. And that made me sad. Not because I don't have great friends, because I do. I have amazing friends. I have friends that I talk to in shower talks. I have my friend Victoria that I talk to every flippin' day on Marco Polo, which, by the way, we love Marco Polo. But I also notice sometimes I have to repeat things to her because she thinks she hears one thing. And that's not actually what I said. And it's not because she's bad, it's because she's doing 1,000 other things too. It's the same reason when my sister calls me on the phone and then she says, you're not paying attention to me. And I'm like, shit, she's right. because I'm watching the Steeler game, or I'm like, so I have to reel myself back in. It's
We're all very
hard.
distracted.
Yeah,
But
it's
I will
hard for
ask,
us.
so but I do have a question for you.
Okay.
My question is, when you are in need of hearing this feedback, right? Like when you are in need of like, I need you to hear me, are
Yeah.
you explicitly saying, I
No.
need your attention right now?
No. No. Which is why I'm not angry. It's not like I don't think I have bad friends. I think I
No,
have
of course.
amazing friends, and
Yeah.
I'm not blaming them. I'm fully aware.
Yeah.
But it was just a thought where I was like, I have a dozen friends that would absolutely slow down, but I'd have to literally do it like that. I'd have to be like, hey, I need you to hear me. And that's okay. That's not a bad thing. That's what we should be doing as friends. But it just struck me as something to be aware of, so that I have been, so when my sister calls me, I'm like, you know what? I've started doing is I've started closing my eyes, right? So that I'm not watching the TV, or I'm not typing on my computer. I'm not falling asleep. I'm just closing my eyes and
And
listening.
listening. Yeah.
But it's
That's
hard to do.
It's
But
so hard to do.
not easy.
And especially now, I feel like it's become so much harder because we have so many more distractions and they're
Mhm,
short bursts, right?
mhm,
It's not like a friend and I were talking about this last night where she was saying she'd heard like even listening to podcasts isn't really great for your brain because it's so quick, and reading books or like reading long, like they're actually better for rewiring or
mhm.
and so she's been trying to go back to reading, or not reading, but listening to books, because she's like, I used to read a book a week. I'm like, I know when we first met, she was an avid reader 20 years ago.
Mhm.
And it's just so much harder now.
It is. It totally is. And it's not a fault or a blame thing,
No,
right?
not at
It's just,
all.
it is what it is.
Yeah.
So at the end of our shower talks conversation topics, I'm going to run something by you
Okay.
quickly,
Okay.
and I want you to focus.
Okay.
And I would love, I just need, because you know what? I'm looking at things from my perspective,
Yeah.
and that I am limited, period.